Hello again, and welcome to Error Code Blueberry, episode 3. We have a lot to talk about this week. Uh, for the purposes of the lower third, I'm Chilibin.
I'm Mackie.
So, where to begin? It's been a big week
Mm,
for Destiny. There's a lot of things that have been announced, and they're all really fucking exciting. I'm trying to think where to begin. Do we start with the season? Do we start with the Witch Queen stuff? I don't know where to begin.
do we want to go chronologically?
Well, if we go
Which was
chronologically, we
teaser for Season of the Lost,
yeah, okay,
then the
yeah, let's
Witch teaser.
let's do it like that because then we get to the fact that I stayed up until almost 3 a.m. on a fucking night before work to watch this thing. So yeah, the first thing that came out was like a what was it like a 15-second teaser video
Yeah,
of what was ostensibly and then turned out to be Savathun finally showing physical form. Or is it? Who knows? But it's basically what Bungie is saying is Savathun walking into some water says what truth is a funny thing.
yeah. I
Just
feel like that's gonna be
nice.
like her like
Yeah.
her line. Like
Well,
that's the line that everyone is gonna attach to her.
yeah, and I think there's some, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, some voice lines early in the current season from Savathun, where she again makes references to truth and maybe it's not what you think it is, but more on that later. Yeah, I fucking like I was already excited, don't get me wrong, but them finally like pulling the pin on like, okay, she's actually here. We're going to show her to you. Was like, okay, they're really pushing it this time. It feels like it's not just all
Yeah.
these vague teasers of like, oh, it's Ziva Arath and maybe that person's related to Savathun and maybe you'll find out later. It's like, no, it's now. It's February. You're gonna find out.
Yeah, I think that teaser, judging by the responses and just the reactions from our friends in the
Oh
community,
yeah,
it's safe to say that the Destiny community collectively shit when we all saw it. We
shit,
all went,
piss,
"Oh
and
my,
cum.
ah, yes, it's her."
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. And I remember seeing, like even before the showcase stuff, which was what like a week later. Um,
If that, a few days,
yeah.
or if that, I
So there was
think
like,
stuff dropped on the Friday and then their showcase was
yeah,
Tuesday.
yeah. I saw someone had like taken a freeze frame out of that 15-second teaser, and they'd overlaid a bunch of stuff on it, trying to make some point that like, oh, it's a chessboard, and in the background, all the little towers are laid out like a pawn, and with the perspective of a chessboard and where everything sits on that. I'm like, that's actually like it's really fucking interesting the way that they've done it, but like, there's so much mystique and kind of like collective, uh, not obsession, but like there's this collective desire to figure out what the fuck Savathun is about because we've been hearing about this character for so long and there's been like Savathun's song popping up here and there, and people are sort of aware of what that is. And the
And
last
then
season we
figuring
saw
out
some of it.
recently, I was gonna say, and then figuring out recently that Sabathoon's song has been in the game
Everywhere.
for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Like I didn't
Like your
even realize
startup music is
for Shadowkeep. For
Sabathoon's.
Shadowkeep, yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't realize that until very recently.
Well, I didn't realize that until I was singing along with it, and someone from our clan just went, "Did Meki just sing Sabathoon's song at us? Meki
Yeah,
sus." I was
yeah,
like, "Oh,
yeah, for real.
I'd forgotten."
Yeah. But yeah, so like I think I watched that thing maybe 3 or 4 times just to be
Oh,
like,
same.
what is happening here? Because a lot of very interesting imagery. The shape of Savathun's head is really fucking weird, especially when you're seeing that character model from the back. Sounds weirdly horny.
You can see it from the front. Wait
Wait,
till you see it from the back.
juicy
Doja
Savathun.
Cat's juicy, but it's just a fan edit of
Oh,
Sabathoon.
oh man, if I had the time to make that edit,
Twitter help.
yeah, please. Yeah, I don't even know where I was going to go. That's completely derailed me.
Like her helmet and her design is
Yes,
really interesting.
yes, yeah. But yeah, there wasn't kind of much more than that, other than this tweet from the official fucking Destiny account to confirm that she is 21 feet tall. So big lady competition is on.
Oh, it was like the Lady D from
Yeah.
Resident Evil. As soon as we found out she was big, the community was like, "We love her.
The community was like, well, I'm done. Stand on me, please,
Step
tall lady.
on me, mummy."
Oh god. But
I
yeah,
think that's the first thing I said when we posted in the server. I
it's just
responded
all caps
immediately
big
with
lady.
"Big lady, do the steppy."
Yes. Damn, she a hive queen and she got feet.
Damn. What was the math? She's like 9 Lady D or something tall.
Yes,
'Cause she's
yeah.
21
It
feet.
was something like that. It was something stupid.
Someone did the math.
Yes. But yeah, and there's like just so many, like it's like all the stuff they've been teasing for a while. It's like just so many questions of like, well, what does that mean for this that happened like a year ago, or like this one mention of a song somewhere, or especially with some of the imagery, just in that 15 seconds of like, okay, what are you doing? And knowing that the showcase was coming and that it was going to be about Witch Queen. Yeah, very good at building hype, Bungie are.
Community will pick things apart too.
Yes.
Because the first thing I saw after I watched it, and I watched it a few times, and then I started looking through the replies to the tweet that initially dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
And there were people who were going frame by frame just to identify the enemy types floating in the water as well.
Yeah.
And being like, is this relevant? Like, why are they all acolytes and wizards? Like,
yeah.
why is it just these enemy types in the water? And why are they in the water? And
yes, which we will definitely refer back to when we talk about the actual showcase stuff. But yeah, it was. I mean, you kind of expect it at the moment. Like it's. Have you heard of the Sonic cycle? Like the Sonic hype cycle, right? So like the idea that a Sonic game's announced, Sonic fans get ambitious and think it's going to be one of the good ones. It comes out, it isn't. They go back again, around they go forever. The Destiny hype cycle is, and I'm just making this up now, this is not like a written thing. Essentially, they post a teaser or some announcement. Not half, the majority of the community is like, fuck yeah, that looks rad. A small but very, very loud on Twitter minority come out and say, dead game, there's nothing you could do that would bring me back. There was a bit of that with this, 15-second little video, which is essentially them announcing a very big lore-heavy kind of story thing is definitely happening next. And it's just like, all right, well, maybe this game is not for you. Stop following and replying to everything. It's like a reply guy's antimatter. Like they just show up to yell at something that they aren't giving a shit about, but they really are with the amount of time they put into it.
It's so unhealthy.
Yeah.
And it's an aspect of gaming. It's an aspect of the game. It's an aspect of nerd culture in general. Not to overly generalize. Where it's like, I even see it on like Marvel and DC posts. Like just to take it away from Destiny for a second, where people will be like, oh, shit movie, shit franchise, movies haven't been good in years, but why are you wasting energy on it?
Yeah.
Homie, why is this shit living in your brain rent free?
Else.
It's fine for you to sit there and be like, oh, dead game, shitty game. Well, obviously it's left enough of an impact in your brain for you to come back.
Yeah.
Like it's there.
But it's
like
also
if it was a dead game, a shit game, why didn't you just leave it behind and move on to something else? Why do you keep...
Yeah, but it's the awareness thing too of like, okay, realize that the game is no longer for you. Leave it alone for the people that it is for. Go channel that energy somewhere else. Like, what are you doing?
Wasted energy.
Yeah. It's so sad.
I was chatting about it with you earlier, and I'd be like, that's like me screaming at Rockstar because I no longer enjoy GTA. You know what I did when I stopped enjoying GTA? I started playing Destiny.
Yeah, I've got so many games that I stopped playing and then uninstalled and I kind of just shut the fuck up about it. Unless I'm like in a conversation with someone specifically about that game or that franchise, then sure, let's go into why I drifted away from it, because that's the conversation we're having.
But this is like way too.
Yeah, but this is just completely unprompted. Like, oh hey, knock knock, your game's shit. It's like, well, we're not talking to you. You're not the audience for this. I think they put it out in the showcase that in the last, I think it was 2 years, 20 million people have started playing Destiny for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of fucking people. You being loud on the internet, they don't care. Sorry. They're not going to change the game to suit you. Fuck off.
It's like going to a sushi train and you don't like sushi and then sitting there and complaining about the sushi. The restaurant's not for you. Why are you here?
Yeah. Like,
go find something you like.
That is like, that's a bit of a weird example, because I've gone to some places where it's like, you know, very heavily one cuisine, but then they've got a steak on the menu. And I'm guessing it's because groups come along and they've got someone in that group that's like, nah, but I'm here with a group. Need to eat something.
But it's like I get intentionally hunting out a sushi restaurant and then sitting there and going, "Ooh, I hate sushi. That is gross food. Hate it." It's like, we'll leave.
Yeah, it's like,
this restaurant's not for you. Then
stop following Destiny. Mute the hashtags on Twitter. Like, you can just take that away from yourself and just live a more positive life. But you're choosing to be a shithead on Twitter about it, or on Reddit, or whatever.
Nerd culture entitlement has hit a peak in some people. It's like, even though I love Destiny, not everything in the game is for me.
Yeah.
Which means Bungie isn't obligated to make it for me.
No.
Trials, well, we'll chat about it later, but up until recently, Trials, I didn't have fun playing it. It's not for me. So why do I expect updates that cater for me in a game mode that's not for me as a PvE player?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. It's like, it's a big game. There's tons of shit in it. You know, some people, there's a bit of everything that they enjoy. Some people are like, no, I'm going to go hard into the PvP side of things. Some people are just all about raids. Great. There's tons of shit there you can do with that. Like, just go do something else. Like, it's the thing we've found too even with our clan. Like, we're fairly active with Destiny, but by the end of basically every season for like the last year, there's like that last sort of 3 weeks where most of us have kind of done the stuff we're planning to do for the season. We're at the pinnacle cap. There's not a lot left to do that is, not meaningful, but you know what I mean? Like, we've kind of done what we need to do. And so we'll go and like start playing Diablo or Minecraft again and just like fuck around for 3 weeks. Like, it's not just about Destiny. And again, spoilers for the showcase, it's about people and friends, and Destiny is like a vehicle for that. Case in point, we're here making a show about it. But we're not just there for that game or one part of it. We're there because of the people that we're there with. Yeah. And that's more what it is. Destiny is like just a thing that got us there, sort of as a group of people. And that's the same for like the community at large.
Yeah, it's a thing that we all clicked over.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all friends, but like Destiny's definitely, like we said last episode, Destiny's definitely strengthened a lot of friendships and created a lot of new friendships within our friend group too.
Yeah. Yeah. So we probably should just jump straight into the showcase now, because we keep almost talking about it and then not. So I'm trying to think who was this. So there were 4 of us in our sort of usual group that stayed up to watch the whole thing. So for anyone watching, listening at home, at least in Melbourne, in Brisbane it's slightly different depending on time of year. Anyway, normally reset is for us Wednesday morning at 3 a.m. So the way that the showcase timing worked was it started at 1 a.m. The pre-show went for an hour, then they did the showcase, and then season drops at 3 a.m. So it was basically like a really sweet fucking on-ramp into the new season.
So it was like what? The showcase ended, servers went down really briefly.
Yeah.
And then it was...
Yeah, it basically wrapped up at about 2:30 in the morning, and then reset kind of happens at 3. So little window there for all the servers to essentially roll over. But the first hour, like we knew they were doing a pre-show for that first hour, but it was essentially they were just showcasing art and stuff from the community. So it was all sorts of stuff from some artists you'd heard of before, some that had just like submitted some shit, and all of it was fucking mad, honestly. Like so impressive.
So many different art styles too. Like
yeah.
it was so great.
There's one that's burned into my brain. Someone had taken all the Omelon weapons, including Falling Guillotine, and basically made them look like little chibi art characters.
Yeah.
With like little googly eyes essentially on them. The little Falling Guillotine broke my heart. It's so adorable. But yeah, it was also interspersed with little videos from like community members or a few streamers here and there, and like a couple of bits from like people behind the scenes on the Bungie side. And it was just like really nice, you know, like they didn't need to do that. It is also granted like Bungie's 30th anniversary, so they're sort of building some stuff around that as well. But just really nice to kind of like give a bunch of people that have been putting in this work a really sick platform to just be like, boom, you're in front of like tens of thousands of people.
For context, I didn't get to stay up because I'd work.
Yeah, I mean, so I did too. I chose to stay up like a fucking madman.
Everything that you described, I was watching, but on a train.
Oh no.
So there was a lot of moments where I kind of had to sink down in my train chair a little bit and do like...
You watched all of the pre-show plus the showcase? Oh no. Yeah,
because my train rides in the morning are an hour to an hour 15, depending on delays. And I purposely got on the not express train so that I'd have that hour and 15 rather than 45 minutes because I knew I wanted to watch the showcase.
That's big brain shit.
But there were a few moments where I had to like slide down and do like the like gentle like tear tap and hope that no one could see, like corner of, it's gross, but corner of my mask. Shit. Yeah. It was like it's like warm and like cozy seeing Bungie just be like, yo, our community's rad and let's show us.
Yeah.
Like let's see how rad you are and show everyone else how rad you are.
So there were some bits later in the actual showcase part of the show that kind of hit me like that as well, but we'll get to that later because it's more to do with the 30th anniversary package they had in there. But yeah, so a whole hour of just fucking art showcase. It's rad as hell. And then it just kind of
clips and stuff.
Yeah, some bits and pieces. It's really funny. Like there's a few of us in our group that like have this completely like joke hatred of Datto. Like actually have no problem with the guy, really appreciate and love his content, but for some reason like there's a couple of us that just find it really funny, just be like, boo, Datto doesn't know how to play Destiny. Like he absolutely does. It's just he's been very prominent for a long time, so it's kind of fun.
We don't know where the meme we don't know where the meme started or where it came from, and it's not malicious in any way.
No. On the off chance that he sees this. But no, like,
please roast us back.
Yeah, but we're like in this voice chat with the four of us, and just like as soon as he comes on, like two other people in this call that we're in are having a conversation, and I'm just like up to the mic, just like boo, Datto, boo. It's just like needless, but you know, it was like 2 a.m, so what do you expect? But no, it was cool, and it was also like Rami Ishmael popped up for a bit, and like I'm familiar with who he is because of his work with like Vlambeer and games, but also like activism on Twitter recently. And I was just like, oh shit. I just like without realizing, like, oh shit, Rami, and like the other guys in the call were like, wait, who? And then I got to educate them on who the fuck Rami Ishmael is, and that was a lot of fun.
I have had personal one-on-one experiences with Rami through events. And he is a lovely, lovely man. So when I saw him pop up, I was like, I'm so excited for him.
Yeah, he's also like very on Twitter about how much he enjoys Destiny. Like, actually, no shit, today, I mean, I think I sent this around to the group. He like just decided to challenge himself to tweet the history of Destiny's lore. I think it ended up being like 50 tweets, but it's just because like someone in his mentions was like, I don't get it. How do I get into this? And he was like, all right, fucking sit down, read this.
it was like I hate the book series, but the only way to describe it was the Dummy's Guide to Destiny Lore.
It basically
where it was
was.
just super shorthand to the point.
Yeah, and it wasn't like super up its own ass. It was like, okay, it's space magic. It's kind of like explaining it as if we were explaining it to each other about a story, not like, oh yeah, so the Traveler, it's this ancient mystical. It's like, no, it's just like a fucking space ball that grants magic powers. Like, what do you want? Like, don't take it that
Fucking
seriously.
worms.
Yeah, come on.
Everything is worms.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm trying to remember how they opened the showcase. I think it was just like a couple of people on a stage. They essentially just came out and said, look, it's time to talk about Witch Queen. Here's a fucking video of gameplay. Like, they didn't have much.
We love you, but here's Witch Queen.
Yeah.
I think it was the full trailer first.
Yeah.
So it opened up with the 3 gardens with that sick looking armor.
That's right.
In
yeah.
the forest.
Yes. Yeah.
Scanning. And Ikora.
The armor with like the alchemy symbols all over it, and it
so sick.
It looks so good. Like, holy shit.
The warlock armor.
Yeah. So we see like what Savathun's throne world, which it just looks like a giant castle. Honestly, like it looks so good. Like, I've got such a hard on for Bungie's design and just how good they make things look. It's so good. I don't know how I've lost words. They know how to fucking craft a world.
There's so many different aspects of design, just to veer off very quickly, which I think we've had so many discussions about Destiny's design and Bungie's design, because like you think about the sterile cleanliness of DSC.
DLC. Yeah, Clovis
and
Bray
then you
and all
think
that.
about the grunginess, even though it's an older raid, of Vogue.
Yeah.
But then you also think about just the stark difference and the way it seamlessly transitions from Europa into DSC.
Yeah.
And just the way they tie all these completely different, I wouldn't even like, just aesthetics.
Yeah.
And they all feel cohesive. Like hive bullshit.
Yep.
Hive crustiness feels like part of the world, despite the fact it's like you look at Clovis Bray and Bray Tech and stuff like that, and it's crisp and sterile.
Yeah.
Up against, but they all feel part of the same world. And it's the same with the Dreaming City. I love the Dreaming City. It's one of my favorite aesthetics, like the Ascendant
Spoilers.
Plane.
This season is for you then.
But it feels like part of the world.
Yes. Yeah, it's very like internally consistent. I think, you know, you can look at it from the outside and be like, okay, I get it, but even in the world itself, it seems to make sense.
Yeah, so like seeing a forest and seeing the throne world in that trailer didn't feel jarring. It didn't feel like, oh, what's this? It was like, oh, creepy. Okay, where's this heading?
Well, because that was one of the things, like when they showed some images of their armor set, like I think it was like a number of twabs ago at this point. Twabs. It's twabs. People were like, oh, they're finally doing the old Chicago thing. Like, that's been this long-running theory of eventually they'll set some piece of content in old Chicago. And then they kind of opened this trailer in the forest. Camera tilts up to show like the throne world, which they, you know, later referred back to it as. And like, it almost, now that I'm talking about it now, it feels like a bait and switch to be like, oh, so you thought this was old Chicago? Fucking check this shit out. It's an entire
creepy
throne
forest.
world. Yeah. And, you know, as someone who played, I would say, some amount of D1, the Dreadnought was fucking tight as an environment. And as much as hive bullshit is gross and scary, it does allow for some really interesting, like, world building and level geometry and all the weird spiky shit everywhere. And it looks so good. I keep saying that. It does. It looks really good.
It looks so nice.
But we've got
even like,
I was gonna say,
crustiness.
We've got to talk about the fucking little ghosts, the hive ghosts, the hive guardians. Oh my god, when that fucking, so no shit, when this trailer was playing, I had like muted my microphone in this voice call. I was basically sat like this here with just hands over my mouth, just like, oh my god, what am I seeing? Because it's just like, okay, you know, new expansion, you don't really expect them to introduce a new type of enemy. Like the last time I think we saw that was with the Scorn. Beyond Light was more about the introduction of darkness and how that affects existing things. This is the first time it's felt like, here's a bunch of fucking new enemies though, because it's Hive Guardians, and the way that they've shown it, it feels like a mirror of what we've got at our disposal. Like there's some hunter-looking Hive, and they've got little ghosts, and it's like, so that shot from the teaser where all these Hive are dead in the water.
Yeah, wizards being the warlocks.
Yeah, that then evolves into like these little ghosts fucking reviving them out of this water. Fucking, what are you doing?
To begin with, I forgot what they're called, but the Vex have that flying, fast-moving mini, almost like Hydra, and they fly into you and explode.
Oh, the supplicants?
Yeah. At first, when I saw them appear, like you kind of get a glimpse of them and they fly past the Guardians. I thought they were like that. I was like, oh, okay.
Little bombers.
Yeah. And then the voice lines keep happening and I'm just like, and I like, oh man, I wish I was in the VC with you guys because all you would have heard was no way, no fucking way. Because that's like the dialogue I was having in my head.
That was my internal monologue throughout basically the entire showcase. Was like, what are you doing?
And then they start healing, and I'm like, get fucked.
Yeah.
Get actually fucked.
Yeah.
And then, they reveal it. I'm like,
yeah, basically.
I don't know how I feel about this other than kind of terrified.
Yeah, because that's always the thing, right? Like, it's always Guardians versus everything else is at a lower level, right? And this feels like, and it just feels like they're like, okay, here's a version of yourself. Go fight that. See how you stack up. And it's like Savathun's got an entire army of this shit.
Gods and deities, guardians, everyone else. Basically. That's what the food chain feels like. But then even then, guardians have gone on to kill gods.
Actual gods, yes.
So
as Hawthorne often reminds us.
And Drifter.
Yeah. Killed any gods lately? Just fuck off.
Oh, and Ava.
Man. Yeah.
Ava, you killed some gods. Go away, you weird old lady.
Yeah, you said the same thing last year. Have you actually got Alzheimer's? What's happening?
Oh no.
Just don't open this door.
But yeah, it was nutty, and I'm really excited for it, but simultaneously terrifying.
Yeah, and knowing that, like, you know, it's Witch Queen, then it's Lightfall, and then it's now announced the final shape, and then that's kind of, they're building up to more than just this. Like, the thing I keep thinking is like, where the fuck where are they going? Right? Like, I didn't see half the stuff in the showcase coming. There's a whole 2 more expansions before this like story arc is concluded, and then there's more Destiny 2 after that. Where is this going? Anyway, that's huge big picture stuff that there's still so much like, we've got to cover.
Ikora's voice lines during that trailer too, just being like, yeah, so she's managed to manipulate the one thing we thought she couldn't touch, which is the light.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
and I think that was a voice line right before they revealed the Hive Ghosts and the Hive Guardians. And when she said it, I was like, what do you mean? Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah. I watched it a bunch because every time I watch it, I see something new, but like it's still very much like I can't remember the order of things sometimes.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch it all over again just to, or at least like the big demo reels they showed, not necessarily people talking on a stage, even though there was some interesting stuff out of those. But just to, pick it apart a little bit, see if what I'm remembering is true, probably get excited all over again.
The sound design, as always. Destiny in the last handful of expansions, last couple of expansions, has found its sound.
Yeah.
It's got that iconic, deep, gravelly, synthy, and then like the synthetic drums and like when I think about the Destiny sound, I think about the kind of grunginess that they introduced in the DLC before Beyond Light. And then they expanded on the synthiness of that in Beyond Light. There's a lot more synth and stuff like that. Whereas like all the music that the tiny clips of music that we've seen in the trailers and the showcase, seems like they're erring more on the side of like rock than
Yeah.
synth.
Actually,
which makes sense because DSC is very clean and sterile, so you would have that sound, and then I feel like the Hive is going to have a lot more of a grungier.
Yeah, so the thing that's just made me realize is we were watching this, and someone, you see the animation of essentially your player grabbing one of those Hive ghosts and crushing it in your hand. That is reminiscent of the finisher moves in the last couple of Doom games. And now that you've said that about the sound design, what I'm thinking is the Hive feel like similar to the enemies in Doom.
Yeah.
And the Doom soundtrack is very rock metal forward, but it's got a lot of analog synth, kind of disgusting synth sounds. So I would not be surprised if there was like some Mick Gordon-esque bullshit in that soundtrack.
You can only hope.
Yeah, but okay, where are we up to? So we've seen the Hive Guardians, Hive Ghosts. What came next? I honestly don't remember. Yes, then
confirmation she's the Moth Queen. Yes,
so we do see Savathun's front, which is just them doubling down on like, look, it's time. Like
it's crusty. She
is. Time for you to deal with this. The first thing I noticed was her eye pattern is the same as what's on Eris Morn's face. And I was like,
I did too.
All right, what's up with Eris though? Because there is that little cutscene right at the end of the Shadowkeep campaign where she like grabs that weird orb, and there's like this kind of weird interaction with her that seems reminiscent of the darkness stuff that comes in Beyond Light. So I don't know what's up with Eris, but I'm sus. That's not great. But yeah, it's very much like just straight up, here's Savathun's face. And then she jumps up out of the water and these giant fucking moth wings come out. I'm like, what is happening?
Which is like, oh, her design is so crusty.
Yeah.
And crunchy and gross.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, it's a really beautiful design.
Yeah.
Like the moth wings are disgusting.
Yep.
But they're still beautiful. And like her design in itself, the intricacies in her design, as creepy as I find her, they've done so well.
Yeah. And the Hive Ghosts and the Hive Guardians feel similar. Like the armor on the outside of those Hive Guardians, it has like gaps in it. It has like what looks like plates and stuff. Like it looks like armor that they've just stuck on, and it all feels kind of like cut from the same cloth. It does actually feel like they're born from her in some way. It all does hang together. Which, is that consistency we kind of talked about before. Okay, so Savathun looks like a giant moth lady, 21 feet tall, so that's a big fucking moth. I don't have
big lady do the flappy.
Yeah. Oh no, big lady with the big flappies. I hate this. Oh. No. Big lady with the big flappies, yes. Fuck.
All I can describe her as is crusty.
Yeah.
Because her sound design is every time she moves, it's like beetle wings. Like it's crusty. And I love it. The sound design's great, but like she's crusty.
Yeah, it's like I want to crack my knuckles into the microphone, and then you'll get an idea if you haven't watched it.
If you've ever crushed a cicada shell.
I haven't, but I knew friends that used to do shit like pull the wings off them.
It's like if you've ever crushed like a bug shell. It's like it's that kind of like crustiness. Like it's just like, oh,
yuck.
Which suits her. Yeah. But her design is incredible. Like the intricacies of like her quote unquote crown, and then the shoulder shape, which is very remiss of Crota.
Yeah.
Like her design kind of feels like, and obviously because they are
Hive.
Linked.
Yeah. They family.
It feels like a feminine Crota.
Mm-hmm.
Like they took that energy, like the shoulder shape and even the crown shape to a degree, and then just peeled it back and made it very delicate and feminine.
Yeah, I did also see like when the teaser was put out, you'd seen the Witch Queen symbol by then. Someone had overlaid that over top of Savathun's character model, and it basically lines up one for one. Of like the different angles basically. And shit. Yeah. But man, I'm so excited to see just the story. Like the story on its own as much as like, you know, the Beyond Light or the Shadowkeep story didn't take that long to play through, all the other stuff along the sides, like all the different lore entries, all the different stuff that fills it out, like as much as that's kind of tedious to actually go through sometimes with reading all the lore and the fact that it's not in the campaign story necessarily, it's still such a fun story. Like, I love some dumb space magic shit.
I wonder if we're going to get another penguin lore style thing.
Yeah, but it's going to be like some weird little fucking thing in a shell.
Just something just unnecessarily heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Just because.
Yeah, but like, I'm trying to. I don't know. I'm so just like, I don't know if I want a small version of whatever Savathun's bullshit is.
It's like, it's so exciting, but then you need to remember that Savathun is apparently the queen of lies and deceit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, are we getting what we see?
Yes.
Is it what we think it is? Which is the most exciting part for me. That's me. I want to find out, is it actually the light or is she fucking with us?
Yeah, and then knowing that the expansion after this one is called Lightfall.
Yeah.
Like, that word in itself is so interesting.
Like, are we going to find out if Witch Queen is where we quote unquote defeat her? How deep her manipulation will run after the fact too? Yeah,
because it's Season of the Lost stuff, but she kind of reveals that actually she's had her fingers in your shit for a while now, and you just didn't know. Like, she's been in it.
Yeah. So then they did the gameplay trailer.
Yes.
Which is...
I'm going to get this out of the way. The glaive looks fucking sick. Holy shit.
I'm so excited for the glaive.
Because the first thing...
so excited
the first little bit of it they show is like, it's a first-person shot. Like, you can basically see a giant bayonet. And I'm like, okay, what gun is this? And then you see a stab animation. Like, it's a pole with a knife on the end of it. And then later on, they reveal that it's basically Destiny's... It's a Destiny gunblade.
Yeah.
Like, you can stab with it, and then you can do a close range, like, fucking shot with it. And it sounded like a shotgun. This thing had a real mean sound to it. And then later they revealed that it's part of a weapon crafting system. Like, fucking, what are you doing?
Then on top of that, they mention you can basically chain combos with it too. Yeah. Like, they said you can do combos, and I was like...
Yeah, what part of the gameplay trailer was like, stab one thing, turn a little bit to the right, and headshot something with the other part of it. And
then there was like moves with the butt end of it, and
there's the thing, like, they so you know excited. Had a sort of title card for it, and they said it's a new weapon archetype. So that means there's going to be, like, even though it's, you know, the weapon crafting version, that's what they were showing.
There's going to be variances of gunblades.
It's going to be variants. There's probably going to be an exotic one.
Intrinsic perks.
I just like, as much as like we've had some really fun exotic weapons, they haven't introduced a new type of weapon for a long time. I don't even know what the last one was.
And they went balls to the wall, just being like, yeah gunblade.
Yeah, and actually shout out to Rami Ismail again, like, following his tweets as this thing was happening was really fun. But he basically made the point that, like, they haven't done a sequel, like a proper sequel, since Destiny 2. But basically every year they put out enough shit that would warrant an entire sequel if this was any other game franchise. Like, they're adding weapon crafting, they're adding this giant story, like, crossplay is there now. Like, it's insane that this is just like a yearly expansion. Anyway, yes. So the glaive, we see that. I want it now. And then they're just like,
oh, BT dub weapon crafting.
Yeah.
That's coming too, guys.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And they kind of show some bits and pieces, but obviously, like, they're going to talk more about that later. But even announcing weapon crafting, cool. Like,
and then giving us, like, kind of glimpses and teasers to like, what the, like,
put all
the
these
table.
Bits together. Yeah.
So I guess that's going to be like the loom, the helm, every other kind of. It's going to be a thing.
And I think they said something like, you know, you'll unlock stuff to use with that by using the weapon itself. So it's kind of like reinforcing itself and building in.
You can level weapons up and parts. And...
Well, yeah, maybe. I'm not even sure if that was like what they said, but it's, I need to watch it again. Like I said, I don't remember all of it. But it just feels like they've definitely embraced that this game is an MMO with a bunch of the stuff they've done over the last couple of years, and now it's like, oh fuck it, let's add some shit straight out of the Diablo. It's like, here's weapon crafting, here's some other shit, like just go nuts. Honestly.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, they kind of dumped a lot of info. Not dumped, but like, yeah, they were just like, here it all is.
It just felt like just getting fucking hit in the head. Like, I don't know how to box, and I'm up against someone who does. It's like, what do you? Just settle down. I need to take this all in. Oh, what else was in that trailer? I'm trying to remember.
I think we got ideas of more armor.
Yeah.
There was different armor sets in the gameplay trailer. Some people on Twitter were saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they like to sneak little things in there in the background to be like, oh, it was in there, but we just didn't want to. You'll see it. It's just armor, but yeah.
And then just being like, there is a raid coming.
Of course there is. It's an expansion.
Here's the energy of the raid.
Yeah,
that's what we're telling you.
Yeah, there's some bigger picture sort of announcements in there where they said basically every 3 months there will be a new dungeon or raid or something. There was like a sort of cadence to it they announced, which
because now they've got the legacy pool to pull from.
Yeah, and so that means, I think that means we're due for one soon, and then obviously, you know, this Witch Queen comes out late February. That lines up with March being when the raid for Witch Queen would drop, which on their website there is one. We know very little about it, but there will be one.
So what was the turnaround between BL dropping and then DSC? 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, it's I think it's been that. And with Volta Glass, it was similar with like the gap between that and the start of the season. It was, I think, a couple of weeks. Yeah, actually, because we, like a bunch of us, put in the time when Beyond Light dropped to do the grind up to power level, and I think it was 2.5 weeks or thereabouts. So that kind of makes sense in terms of timing. But yeah, gameplay stuff, Witch Queen, what else was in there? I am drawing a massive blank. There was a ton of shit. Go, like, if you haven't watched it, go and watch it. Fuck's sake, it's so good.
Cora's actually doing stuff now?
Yeah, they hired a voice actor that is free, so that helps.
She's actually available. Got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Like,
she's not just
getting actual voice lines. And,
yeah.
I was worried she'd never get out of the loom.
Oh, I don't remember where that came from. Fucking.
I think it was a late night. I think it was a late night session where we were all losing our minds because we'd stayed up for a big season drop.
Maybe, or we were just tired. Everything's going on.
I think we stayed up for Splicer, and then we started doing the transmog stuff, and
that's right.
That just came out.
Yeah, no, okay.
Cora's in the loom.
I remember where that came from because like there was a lore book in the game associated with the loom and the transmog stuff, and there was straight up what looked like placeholder art to me, where it was like the lore book cover was basically just pink with the like the Bungie tricorn symbol just in the middle of that frame, and then in that pink background you could see Ikora's face. I'm like, this just feels like you forgot to add an image in here. And then I just was like, Ikora was in the loom. Like I just said that without thinking, and then that's just become part of our lexicon.
It's our fire team's headcanon now.
Yeah,
that's why Ikora hasn't been able to do anything for the last 10 seasons.
Yeah, she was helping Ada 1
in the loom,
helping Ada 1 build a haberdashery.
She's stuck in the loom.
Okay, I feel like there's still a bunch of the stuff from the showcase that we're missing.
Stuff.
Yeah, I'm honestly going through the notes now to try to remind myself what I've missed. Because it's also messy because there was the 30th anniversary stuff, and then there was like the trials updates, and there's been about 4 or 5 things.
They talked about their merch coming out as well.
So yeah, I think we just keep moving because I'm fucking forgetting everything anyway. So they eventually moved on to the stuff they're doing for the 30th anniversary celebration, which is sort of December this year. There's a bunch of stuff that is wrapped up in a paid DLC bundle, which is I think like $30 Australian or thereabouts. I was talking to someone and they were like, I don't think it should be paid, and like not all of it is, to be fair. There's a bunch of free stuff, there's a bunch of stuff that you get access to if you buy this bundle. But the idea is the way that I look at it is, you know, you buy the season pass, you get 4 seasons, right? And when you bought that season pass, that's what you thought you were getting. And this is some extra shit that is kind of on top. It's optional, but also you look at the value that you get out of your annual expansion. Like assuming, you know, you pay the money for the expansion and the season pass, which gets you the 4 seasons for the year. Like that's a ton of shit to begin with. Like if you want to really drill down into like how much is your time worth, it's a pretty good deal, honestly. And the anniversary stuff, like that development has to come from somewhere. That money has to come from somewhere.
Also, like it's showing support and continuing to support, yes. And it's entirely optional.
And like, look, they're a business. And if you look at their store right now, there's a ton of 30th anniversary merch, which honestly, some of it is rad as hell. But yeah, like I get it. I get it from both sides. Honestly, like there's a part of it. It's like, it's a celebration. It's a party. I shouldn't have to pay for this. But at the same time, like game development is not free. It is not easy. It's got to come from somewhere. But the thing that out of this entire showcase that killed me was like the video package around like the 30th anniversary, because like I basically grew up playing Halo. Like marathon and everything before that, I was kind of aware of, but Halo original Xbox was kind of like when I was, this is going to sound real fucking pretentious, like becoming aware as a gamer of like, oh, there's more to this. There's more of a community and an industry, and there's more out there.
Yeah, I don't think that sounds pretentious, because when you think about gaming experiences prior to that, you probably had a similar experience to me. It was single player games, sitting on your lounge room floor, in the dark, trying not to wake your parents up.
Yeah, basically.
Or occasionally getting your mates around for Mario Party, Mario Kart, Crash Bash, whatever console you had at the time.
And like we had bits of that because we had a PS1, so we went like PS1 then to Xbox, because like, you know, we had the one console for me and my brother essentially, and we would play stuff together here and there, but not much.
Yeah.
But Halo was sort of the big one where, you know, we played that together more than any other game. Honestly, it was a lot of just like there's 2 or 3 of us like in a local multiplayer match just running around doing dumb shit.
Flipping warthogs. And...
yeah, like just shooting each other like it's a 4-player match because we just have like a couple of friends over, you know, that sort of stuff. But then, yeah, so like played all of the Halo stuff sort of through Reach, and then by the time Halo 4 came out, I was playing other stuff, honestly, and it wasn't for me. But, you know, I was someone who took my Xbox 360 and my TV fucking to people's houses to play Halo 3 LANs and, like, did that shit. And then when they're showing video footage of people doing that shit, I started tearing up. No shit.
Oh,
I had to, like, just push them. I had to push the mic away. I was like, I'm going to just sit back, because the music they had with it, too, just made that shit land so hard. I was like, damn, I've really been playing the studio's games basically my entire life.
And then hearing and seeing people in our age group be like, yeah, I remember being 16, 17, 18, sitting in my best mate's, best friends, because a lot of them were American, but my best mate's lounge room with candy and energy drinks, just playing Halo multiplayer for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, and you know, like when I say LAN parties on an Xbox 360, a lot of people were bringing in CRT TVs. This shit was not easy.
Or you had that one mate who would collect CRT TVs from like Gumtree and family members and friends, and they just always had a bunch of them at their house for LANs, because it was the LAN house.
Yeah. So like
in Australia, that's the house with the best internet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like we had like one little internet switch that everybody had cabled into, and that was it. Like it wasn't connected to the internet because it was just local. And I've done full 16 player, max player LAN matches that way. Like, I've lived that. And then
TVs are on floors, people are on floors, people are sitting on kitchen chairs at kitchen tables. Yeah.
Like, it sucks, but also
There's
rules.
a TV on the kitchen bench.
Yeah. Honestly, it was like, it was probably what was like a 2 or 3 car garage that my friend's parents had emptied out. Like, no cars were in there. It was 4 TVs sitting in the middle of this room facing out in different directions, and then couches basically. Basically couches just in a circle around them.
Amazing.
It was like Thunderdome in there. Shit. It was disgusting. But like that whole video package just hit me so hard. And then, you know, like thinking forward from that to where we are now, where, you know, like Destiny, this friend group that we've got, has essentially got me through what has been like some of the hardest times in my life.
Fucked 24 months.
Right? Like we spend time most days in some capacity in this group.
I was gonna say, depending on the day, anywhere between 2 to 12 hours, depending on what we're doing on the day.
Exactly.
And you don't even have to be talking the entire time. A lot of us sit in the VC and just hang.
Yeah, talk about other stuff while doing mindless stuff in Destiny. But yeah, it was so sweet to see that and like be reminded of all that sort of stuff, of like starting to bond with my younger brother over some of these games, and like playing these games with people sort of as I'm growing up and like remembering all of that stuff. And it got me so good. I was such a sucker for that. But man,
for me, it was like, I'm the eldest and there's a significant amount of time between me and my little brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I came into gaming, once again, risking sounding pretentious, but I'm in that age group where I came into gaming. Girls didn't play video games.
Right.
And if we did, we played Pokemon and Pikmin and Animal Crossing. Like, that was the stereotype. So I definitely have memories of guys organizing LANs in my friend group, me being like, oh, can I come? And then being like, you don't play Halo.
Yeah.
And then going to these LANs and holding my own, and then having guys my age be like, oh shit. Like, and then building those friendships of being, you know, the gamer girl in the group, and just becoming one of the lads. Like, becoming a Ken doll to the rest of my mates, where it's like, I'm not a girl, I'm not a gamer girl, I'm one of the boys. Like, I'm here to play Halo, I don't fucking care about anything else. Like, I'm here to eat your chips and play Halo.
Yeah.
You've got good internet, I'm here to eat your chips.
Oh, that's so good.
And like, some of the dudes I used to play Halo.
I'll play some Halo.
I used to play Halo with at multiple times in my life have come in to bat for me when it comes to being a girl in gaming. Like, we went on and played CS together, and like, I would get not bullied, but like, go to the kitchen, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And these dudes I played Halo with would be like, yeah, no, she's legit. Like, she plays. Like, shut up. Stop being a dickhead.
Yeah. And then,
so I have like a weird nostalgia where it's like, it was me becoming a gamer, like one of the boys, and being considered a gamer, and not just, oh, she pretends to like games because she's a girl and she wants attention. It was like, oh no, she likes games.
Yeah.
It was that kind of early phase of girls being recognized that we play games, and then being able to hold my own, and then be like, oh no, she's serious about this. Like, she plays.
Yeah, she don't fuck around.
So I have a weird nostalgia there.
Yes.
So like,
yeah, and then there was, like, related to that, but not actually part of the showcase or anything. There was this tweet thread that I came across. It just came up on my timeline, and I sent it to you earlier. It was someone just like in DMG's replies about crossplay being like, this basically means I can play with my son. And it, from context that I got from the other tweets in the thread, was like, you know, separated relationship, part-time
dads.
They're on different platforms, can't play together. Crossplay, which is now a thing, you can just do that, means that this dad can play this game with his son together.
It's more time he can spend with his son.
And
yeah, when I read through that thread and there
it's
was other
getting me
dads,
now a little bit.
other dads being in the replies being
Yeah.
like, hell yeah, part-time dad solidarity.
Yeah.
And then people being like, oh, well, my son and I play all the time. If you guys want to fire team up and do an activity, like, here's my Bungie name.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah, stop it, please. Get me going again. But it's that sort of thing.
We love good dads.
Yeah, it just, and this was something that I guess like some of the people in the showcase were sort of saying was like, yeah, the games are cool and all, but Bungie is really here to like facilitate experiences that you share with people that you care about in some way, you know, and seeing like crossplay and seeing that 30th anniversary package, like just solidified that in my mind, at least. Like I'm sure with other people it did too, but it was just them going like, yeah, look, games are cool. We know that, we play them, but also like, hey, have you heard of Friends? Like Friends are dope. That's the ultimate story of Destiny is Friends.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm a little bit like, I'm excited for crossplay. I've still got to get him set up, but it means I can play with my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm 30, and I'm like, I'm so excited to play Destiny with my dad.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really understand PC gaming because he grew up console gaming.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you know, in those replies to that tweet, like, they fully acknowledge it's not perfect. They got it to a point where it solves the problem for a lot of cases, but for example, like, cross-platform voice chat is not a thing. Cross-platform text chat is not a thing, because those, it turns out, are really fucking difficult to solve, because you have to go through the platform holder's proprietary voice tech and text chat tech, and like make them somehow be on a level playing field. So I feel like for now, most people are just gonna be like, we're voice chatting in Discord. We're playing this game.
For Discord mobile.
Oh my God, yes. But yeah, so people are probably just gonna have their phones sitting in their lap on a Discord call, playing Destiny like on their console with headphones on, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
you know, this is my setup when I play Destiny. It's like this microphone, these headphones, I'm good to go. But it's just so fucking powerful that they're able to be like, who cares? Go play with whoever. And they did that little beta test last season to be like, run some strikes. It all works. Go nuts.
Let us know.
Yeah. And yeah, it's so like what they've put out is just so good. Like it's cool to log in, to look through the roster in the tower and see all those little symbols to be like, fuck, there's like a bunch of Xbox people just hanging out in here, and it just works. Like, it's so bizarre.
And see fire teams where it's a mixture of symbols too.
Yeah.
Because you're like, fuck, it's working.
Yeah, and
people
I know
are able to play together. That's so wicked.
Yeah, I know they do some stuff in like PvP matchmaking to make sure that like keyboard and mouse is separate, because that kind of makes a difference. And I think like controller on PC gets matched against console and not PC, so they're clever about it. But it's just crazy where this game is right now.
For me, I think part of the showcase that really kind of like kicked me in the guts was when they started showing like the D1 footage and old D1 streams and D1 moments, because I fell in love with D1. I was obsessed with it. I played it on the PlayStation. I had my original clan, my original fire team that will remain nameless, but I found my way into a pretty big D1 fire team through friends, through people I met playing Destiny. And one bit that really got me was, I wish I knew her name, but that young girl who had the artwork, and she was like, that's the original VOG and my original fire team, when she was going into the new VOG for the first time, and she's like,
no, I think what that actually was is you can go through like essentially like a memory vault within the game, and it will show you some of those events with the fire team that you're in. I think you launch it from the character select screen or something like that. And it was like, because if I go through mine, it shows me like the Black Garden and when I finished that and who I was in a fire team with at the time.
But like, I think her pulling that up and just being like, fuck.
Yeah.
It was like, when the doors, I was okay in VOG, but then when the doors opened to the actual vault itself, I had that like teary, nostalgic kind of, had to mute myself briefly and be like, oh shit.
Yeah, like honestly,
like,
depending on
I had those flashbacks of me and my original fire team screaming as the vault opened and just being like, fuck, what is this? Like, shit, God, it's cool. Like, crackly PS4 voice chat.
Yeah, it's garbage. But yeah, depending on how and when or if they bring back Leviathan, I am probably going to have a moment like that at some point in the future, right? Because that was the group we have now. That was our version of that.
That was our solidifying moment. Was that raid?
Yeah.
We found the core 9 people who run raids frequently, and it just clicked and it worked, and we smashed out Leviathan in 45 minutes one day.
Yeah, was it that fast in the end?
Yeah.
Like, I know people do it faster, but that was good for us.
But it was like we did our one big messy run where everyone was kind of trying to learn it, and then I think it was a run and a half after that. It just everyone clicked into place, and we went, "Hey, do we want to do day 1 for the next expansion? Because this feels good."
Yeah. And then, well, that's a different story for another time. So yeah, 30th anniversary stuff coming up in December. They're doing a whole bunch of fan service. There's a bunch of actually like new stuff. Like there's I think some 6-player match made activity that they're bringing in. There's a bunch of legitimately new stuff, and then they're doing some cooked shit, like an event that takes place in the loot cave, and they're bringing back Gjallarhorn.
I was so excited when they were like, we're going to do a special party in the loot cave. And I was like, I had that warm, hot ear.
Yeah, the fact that they said the phrase
nostalgia.
they said the phrase loot cave, and knowing now that the location where that is in the game, like you could go there now, it just won't do anything. And I think it was like within a breath of that.
When that news spread, that was like the first like Destiny meme.
Oh yeah.
For me was loot cave, loot cave, loot cave. This bit's broken. Broken game, loot cave. And a friend of mine who got me into the fire team and the clan that I mentioned before, we were just farming the loot cave.
Yeah.
So when they said that, I was like,
that was like
they acknowledged it.
There was that one spot in the Cosmodrome where they brought that back into D2, that if you got the right spawn with the tank, you could stand in like 2 or 3 locations and captains would just infinitely spawn, and people were just farming that for catalyst progress. And then they took that out pretty quickly, but it was almost a version of that, because it was just like, you're not dropping the same energy. Yeah, you're not dropping engrams necessarily, but you're going to get a lot of catalyst progress if you need that. And that was the season Duality came out, and I just remember standing there with this fucking giant shotgun just pounding these captains. That's a bad phrase, and I regret saying it, but yeah, I took a bunch of weapons in there and finished them. Yeah, so good.
I loved like stuff like that. Always gives me like loot cave nostalgia.
Yeah,
where someone discovers something and then the running joke is, hey, loot cave quick before the devs hear us. Like, don't let the devs hear us.
Well, that was the thing with the
devs are they're like, we know it's broken, we're just giving you time to fuck around with it and then we'll fix it.
It's more that it takes time to fix that sort of stuff properly. But I remember with that Cosmodrome one, I remember so many times I would spawn into the right version of that. I would I would see that there's someone in every one of the 3 spots already, and if you walk in there, they like turn around, they do some like weird emote at you, or they do the crouch spamming, and they're like, no, this is
we
mine.
Know what you're here for.
Yeah, but this one's mine, go away. Then you would just
find another instance.
I remember seeing one where it was like there were basically like 2 or 3 people queued up, like waiting for one person to go away. It's like, okay, it's my turn now. What the fucking, this game is so dumb. But it's all non-verbal communication, just like it's crouch-based communication.
Oh, it's like it's got the same energy of when a huge WoW expansion drops and everyone lines up respectfully to talk to the NPC.
I remember seeing people doing that with Master Rahul in the tower. It's like, you don't need to do this. He will see you all simultaneously. He is that good.
When Cosmodrome first pinged, I was teamed up with someone from our group. And we loaded in and went to go talk to Han.
Sure, Han. Yes.
And there were people lined up to talk to Han.
Fuck.
And we both, because we're both MMO players, we both went, yeah.
Yeah, I'm polite.
This is great.
I'm a polite gamer. Let me get a spot in line. But yeah, so there's some cool stuff coming in December. It seems like it's just going to be one big party.
Which I'm so excited for. I hope they do tower dance parties and all the hidden shit.
Well, like the dance party keys, right?
But all the hidden stuff's been found in the tower, so I'm hoping they add more.
Well, because there's still those spots where like you walk up to it and it's like requires dance party key or requires Lootapalooza key. And I think I've seen one of those ever. And someone I was in a fire team with got one. We activated it, didn't know what to do, and then the thing expired, and we're just like, all right, fine, keep moving. But yeah, it'd be cool if they just like increase the drop rates for stuff like that. What is it now? It's August, so if
knowing Bungie, they'll go all out.
Yeah, but remembering what they said,
they'll have a time.
Remembering what they said about like that 3-month cadence on, big things like dungeons and raids. I have to check the exact language, but if it's August now, December kind of lines up with one of those. So who knows? I doubt it's going to be another reprised raid because they just did Vault of Glass. Like, it's a lot of work to do that kind of shit. And knowing that Witch Queen drops in February and March is probably when the Witch Queen raid will come out. I doubt they're going to do a raid in December. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a new dungeon because I don't think there is one for this season. There's just there's like the new seasonal activity and all that, but I would guess that's what's coming, as much as I don't want to do speculation.
I'd love for them to tap in on the Witch Queen thing and just drop a reprised Crota, because that's my Destiny moment.
I think that some of the stuff they showed, it feels like that or King's Fall might be the next reprised raid. Again, not trying to like go down the speculation road because there's a ton of people on YouTube already doing that kind of shit.
Yeah, just we're not saying this with our whole chest. We're just playing with hypotheticals.
And also
a wish list.
But also only playing with the information we've been given, right?
Yeah.
Which is the showcase, the stuff on the Witch Queen page. But also, given it's the 30th anniversary, like bringing back some old content doesn't necessarily make sense for me. Like, because they've got so much stuff to pull from. I think they're doing like marathon-inspired armor sets, maybe some Halo-themed stuff, maybe some Oni stuff. Like, they're doing all these winks and nods with the gear for the event to their back catalog, which is huge, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's exciting. I don't know what that event is going to look like. Hopefully it just takes the place of the Dawning, because kind of sick of it. As much as I love that dumb Santa sleigh sparrow that I've got, like, it's kind of it's like Solstice. It's the same thing every year.
I used that Santa sparrow sleigh right up until I discovered it wouldn't work in DSC. It was shit to do
it's too big. It's too big.
It was fine to grief with, but then actually trying to do the bubbles, I was like, I have to put my reindeer sleigh away.
Yeah.
And I think someone in our fire team was like, oh, thank fuck.
Yeah, because you kept blocking the tiny cylinders, like the doorways, the little hallways.
I used to park it sideways.
Yeah, you did. I'm having flashbacks now. Okay, so we've been going for like an hour already. So
season
of the Lost. It's only been going for like a few days, so there's not a lot to cover. But first thing is, they said this in the showcase, it's essentially a prologue for Witch Queen. And case in point, Savathun appears in the first 10 fucking minutes. Here she is. She's a giant crystal lady. Like, what is...
Someone on Twitter, I'd have to find it, but it's hilarious. Someone on Twitter did a video that is just a freeze frame of Savathun with her wings that says, "My name's Savathun, and you probably wonder how I got here." And then it rewinds to the beginning of Season of the Lost.
That's pretty good.
To her in the thing. Yeah. And I was like...
But yeah, so that...
What it feels like. It feels like, how did we get here? The season, which I really don't mind.
Yeah, so the sort of like, and again, if you haven't gone through it, go do that.
Spoiler warning.
Like, it's good. Go do it. And
we're going to spoil it for you.
Yeah. But yeah, it basically opens with like, the continuation of that last bit at the end of last season where they're like, Osiris is kind of a fuckwit. Let's go find him. Track him down in the Dreaming City. And then there's like this whole thing where you're just looking at Saint and he's looking up as Osiris.
Did you see a flash?
Yeah, but Osiris is essentially like then morphing up into this giant thing, and you don't see it until like a little bit later. It's the giant crystal thing.
But you hear it.
Yeah, it's not good.
And it's like... I was like, ugh.
Yeah. But also, like, right before that happens is, like, Osiris's sassy little fucking... Because he has this little, like, mask thing up to about here,
You
right?
just see, yeah.
And he's, like, doing a lot of eyebrow moves when he's
Osiris is
talking.
COVID safe.
Yeah, yeah. Social distancing by being inside a crystal. But like he's talking and being super sassy, but he's also like throwing his hands around, and then
it's so
all you see
out
is
of character.
he's also just like doing this. It's like,
but he does like this big dramatic like, and I was like, what is happening? Yeah. Like, it catches you so off guard because he's not emotive.
He's very stoic.
So for him to all of a sudden be like, woo, I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Character animators had some fun.
I had a moment where it was happening where I was like,
am I disassociating? What?
So it's a fever dream?
Yeah. But yeah, it was and there was like a little bit right at the end of his voice line where you can hear two voices overlaid.
Those overlaps. Yeah. As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, bitch.
Yeah, and that's when the camera kind of like flips to watch Saint as it like lifts up.
And he panics, despite the fact you can't see his face. The animation in his body really shows like he's scared.
Savathun / Osiris is basically saying to Crow, I have been Savathun as long as you've known me. And then it's you start to like recontextualize all of those events of like, fuck, okay, you've set up all of these dominoes, right?
Osiris convinced everyone else, mainly Ikora, to bring Crow into the tower.
Mm-hmm. But then, okay, who orchestrated Osiris's ghost dying? Probably Savathun, or was that
probably Savathun?
I have to go.
Or was that how Savathun got in?
Yeah, I have to go and look back at like the specific timeline of events with all of that.
I'm gonna watch cutscenes with this new context.
Actually, the like initial season for initial trailer for Season of the Hunt was like, you're going to save Osiris. Crow is there to save him right after his ghost has died. So I'm pretty sure it's all Savathun.
Well, like, yeah, Osiris goes missing for ages, so who's not to say that when he first went missing, she came in?
Yeah, just got inside
his head. Or she orchestrated him missing, and then she did the old body swap.
Yeah, so I'm half expecting, like, as we go through this season and get closer to Witch Queen, like, a lot of those gaps will get filled of like, hey, remember this event? Here's the other side of that. Because there was that whole sort of animated cutscene early on of like, okay, so here's how the events actually played out, and it's all like from Savathun's perspective in her voice. Very well done.
The moths all through the scene, so pretty.
Yeah.
So nice.
Oh,
but
God.
Once you see that happen, in my head I was going back over. I think I joked with you about it a little bit in our show notes, where I was like, yo, this rivalry between Saint and Crow is like weird. It's like they're both vying to save Osiris for his almost like for his affection.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like, Saint, you understand because there's that implicated relationship. Well, no, straight up, Bungie were like, they're a thing.
Yeah.
There's the fact that they were a relationship, and then he went missing, and then Saint feels like he got him back, and now he's gone again. But Crow is like, no, he's the energy I got from Crow's voice lines is like, no, he's mine. I'm gonna save him. So it's like, as Osiris, how hard did Savathun get in Crow's head that he's got that?
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the Ascendant Realm to save Osiris. I'm here to save Osiris. Go away. I'm going to save him. It's going to be me. I'm Osiris's friend. Well, a friend, could be lover. Who knows? We don't know. It's not our business.
No.
It's how deep in the Crow's mind did Savathun get as Osiris? What was planted there?
God, it's like it's just
and then
so nuanced.
Last season, we thought Lakshmi was corrupting Osiris.
Could have been the other way. Actually, I didn't think about that until now. Fuck.
He's humming Savathun's song in one of those recordings. And we now know that her right-hand man was Savathun. And all along, we're like, yo, Lakshmi is corrupting Savathun, Osiris. I think Savathun was corrupting Lakshmi.
I'm still not going to defend Lakshmi.
Lakshmi's a turd, don't get me wrong. She had to have those thoughts to begin with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
her behaviors
she is a turd.
Are what I will judge her for.
But it's like, she took those already corrupted thoughts of Lakshmi and just
tweaked those nips.
And it's like, why did Lakshmi think all this stuff of the Fallen and the Elixni? Maybe Savathun was like, yeah, you're right. As Osiris was like, yeah, you're right. Those can't trust those Elixni. No, you're right. You're right. It was all your idea to open the Vex portal.
Man. I need to go and be alone with my thoughts. Yeah, it's just
like, I didn't think about it until this morning. I was sitting on the train listening to Destiny music, like on YouTube, and some of the music from Season of the Splicer came on, and it was a track to do with Lakshmi or the Future War Cult. And underneath that track, you can hear Savathun's tune.
No, come
on.
And
I had that moment on the train where I was like, oh my god, Osiris was Savathun the whole time.
Just start like drifting off into space. I can't do this.
But then Ikora and Osiris were close too.
Yeah. So
I wonder how Ikora feels about that.
Do you remember that moment when Ikora's like, yeah, we turned over all the city's records to Osiris? Yeah, I just remember that.
Oh my god. Shit.
Savathun knows everything, huh?
Maybe that's how she managed to do the things she did in the trailer.
Yeah. Damn.
And Osiris is in everyone's pocket in the tower too.
Yeah, basically. Except now they're all like, hey, get out, actually. But
yeah, but prior to that, he was Shax's best mate.
Yeah.
He was Zavala's, like, Zavala had his walls up about him and then started to let them down as well. Obviously, Saint.
I'm uncomfortable.
It's so well done. I'm just like, I think about things within this new context. I'm like, Bungie.
Yeah.
Hey.
Stop it. And now think about how long ago they had some of these ideas and had to start building towards them. Get fucked.
Drifter and Osiris being buddy leading up to Cade's death.
How far back does it go? Ugh. Yeah, so anyway, Season of the Lost looks dope, and I'm excited to see how it develops.
Petra's in the cocoon.
God damn it. I was hoping you wouldn't. You sent me that and I didn't even get it because I didn't remember.
Like, you've heard of Lakshmi in the loom. Now we've got Petra in the cocoon.
It's like Cora in the loom. Get it right.
Oh no.
But what is it like that Petra's head just appears in a hologram and like some shit?
And then it just says cocoon. Like the flavor text is that it's the cocoon.
It actually says that?
From memory, yeah.
I missed that. I'll have to look at it tonight.
Fuck. I wish you were around when I realized because I was just sitting in our voice chat with
it didn't quite have the same impact.
The lads, yeah, with the rest of the lads, and I was like, "Huh, Ikora's in the loom, Petra's in the cuckoo," and I just heard a single "I hate you" in response.
Oh man, yeah. So we don't know a lot about what's coming up in the season. I'm
really excited to see what happens next week.
Yeah, we're back in the Dreaming City. There's some weird stuff with the Shattered Realm.
Oh, I love the Shattered Realm.
Yeah.
I love the aesthetic of it. I'm not having a great time in the activity, but I think if I run it with you guys, I'll have a lot more fun. Yeah. It's because I'm running them solo.
And it's also like it's the first time we've seen it. You know, I remember dropping into Override for the first time. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Screaming.
And then just following people and they're like, oh. After a couple, I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. It was nice to go back to Blind Well, though, into that environment.
Yeah. The aesthetic of the Trostland Church in the forest, the Shattered Realm / forest.
Yeah.
Just the aesthetic of, like, the spire is torn off, but it's still kind of floating in place.
There.
And then there's other landmarks from Trostland and the dam and stuff.
Yeah.
As you're walking around trying to find stuff, you're like, oh shit, this is the dam.
Yeah, damn.
Damn.
Yeah, I can already tell you for sure that the the changes they've made to how Gambit ranks progress, a lot better. It's a lot like how everything else works.
I still have to get my Gambit pinkles. So
yeah, it was 3 matches. It's real quick. I do also like the change they've made so that if you've previously gilded a title, you can get the number next to your title while it's still like just showing the purple text. And then when you gild it for that season is when it turns to the gold. So it is nice to actually have that, you know, that past work represented. Given that, actually, fuck, I haven't mentioned this episode yet. So I did end up gilding my Dredgen.
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking.
How close?
So, and I tweeted about this, but like, I think I ended up doing it with about 5 or 6 hours left to go in the season. So I'm glad that this change has come through because now I get the little number 2 next to my title. Otherwise, I would have had to wait until I get it gilded again for this season, and then it would say 3. Otherwise, it just says Dredgen.
Not gonna lie, last Tuesday night, every time I got up to use the bathroom or get water or just woke up, I had Steam and Discord open on my laptop, and I would just look over and see you guys still in Gambit. I'm like, fuck.
Well, so this is the thing, like, I played a few matches on like Monday and wasn't having a great run.
Our run went real flat for
and so I probably put in about 8-10 matches, maybe 1 win, and I think it was, you know, we spoke I think last time about a couple of members in our clan that don't play well together in Gambit.
That curse?
No, one of them didn't join the fire team because the other one was already in there.
Oh.
Now here's what happened on Tuesday night. It was me and those 2 people, plus a random blueberry that match made in. 4 games we played, 4 games I needed, 4 games we won, done. It was weird. It worked with these 2 people that are apparently toxic for Gambit.
I've played with them both, and the only way to describe it is cursed.
Yeah.
They get in each other's way. They steal each other's emotes. They invade when the other one wants to invade. They trip each other up a little bit.
That wasn't really happening. I think what might have helped is I set the energy very early. I said, I need 4 wins. That is it. Everything else for gilding my Dredgen is done. I need 4 wins. I don't care how I get them. I need 4 wins. So I was running, and this is Breach and Clear. I was running Anarchy, Deafening Whisper, an Adept Hung Jury, and
you were mad.
Fucking Falling Curus Thunder Crash. So I am here to fucking kill things. That's 1 person out of 4.
My name is Chilibin. I'm here to fuck.
Yes. So 1 out of the other 2 in the team was basically doing the same thing as me. Maybe running Xenophage, but Thunder Crash. The other one was Chaos Reach. Chaos Reach Warlock. So we're set up to just melt. And melt we did. We played 4 games. We won 4 games. Thank you. Good night. I after Monday night, I was like, fuck, I don't think I'm going to get it done because of how fucking terrible we went. But then just logged on, got it done. And I was just like, fuck, I don't want to cut it that close again. And thank God it's easier to get Gambit ranks now because it won't get like that. That was the thing that took me so long. It was how long it took to reset the rank. Because by the time you get to the last rank, it was wins were the only thing that you would progress on. And it was also, you needed way more points to even get that last rank. But now it works just the same way as Vanguard and Crucible do. Also, all of them have changed to be activity streaks, not win streaks. So as long as you keep completing activities, that's your streak bonus. Obviously, wins get you more points, but that grind is now going to be a lot easier. So get ready for very early season Gilded Dredgen number 3, because I've done it now. I just got to keep going.
This season is definitely going to be a lot of Mechie does things in the season she usually doesn't do. Yeah. Just with the changes, because I'm considering gilding. I'm I never do it. I help everyone else gilding their shit.
Have you done titles that you can gild? Okay, so you need to
aimed for it.
Yeah, so you need to do the full title first, and then the next season,
and then do it.
It's like a much smaller group of things you need to do to gild it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna set that up.
Yeah, Dredgen's honestly like if you just play a bunch of Gambit, Dredgen's pretty easy to get. There's some for the first time, there's a few kind of painful ones like, you know, getting 4 kills as an invader a bunch of times, that sort of stuff. But you know, if you spend a day where it's like, okay, I'm only invading for today, you'll get there. Like, it just, you focus on it.
Yeah.
It's easy enough.
See, I'm usually that person that someone else is like, I need to guild this thing, and I'm like, yeah, I'll help.
Yeah.
But I've never been like, oh, I should probably do it too.
Yes, we should.
It's not really anything.
It's time to guild the Mechie in Season of the Lost. That's what
Golden Mechie.
Yes, I'm claiming that now.
And Trials. The changes to Trials I was gonna say, makes me want to play Trials.
Yeah, we're running along, so we should finish on this. But yes, the changes to Trials, I'm fucking so ready for. Like, we've dabbled in Destiny 2 Trials here and there.
We had really amazing games as well, and nights as well, depending on the match.
Moments, I would say. We've had, at best, a handful of good rounds, but because of what the pool of players has been, it's been really hard to break in. You know, like,
look, if I get more than 1 kill in a round, that's an amazing game for me.
Yeah, and
I'll take the little victories.
I'm kind of similar, right? Like, I like playing PvP, but I don't like what Trials was in the past. Like, we would get 3 people together, we'd get on in a weekend when it was easy to get the 3-win reward and kind of just bludge our way towards it. And most of the time hate it. But we would all basically say the same thing of like, I wish I had the time to get good at this, or I wish we could just do this more regularly to try and work on it. But because that barrier has been so high, it just wasn't
unenjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't, we weren't having a great time with it. There's nothing really wrong with Trials as much as people want to scream about it.
Yeah.
You know, it just wasn't fun for us.
Yeah.
And it was one of those game modes that we really wanted to give more love and give more attention, but we just weren't having a great time, and the balancing was a little bit funky.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't want to just like read off the change log. I'm trying to find the message I posted to someone earlier, because I think I summarized it pretty well to them. Essentially, there we go. So like the pinnacle rewards, it's win 7 matches in a weekend or win 50 rounds. So they're moving more towards rounds as the thing that kind of is where you get rewards from, as opposed to you've got to get wins, and you like your Trials card, you can't get losses on it and all this sort of stuff. Like, they've straight up said, like, getting flawless is and should be difficult. So that is still like the true PvP endgame. But yeah, so they're shortening round times to address people just hiding out and waiting for abilities to come up. They're preventing ammo. That
was huge for me.
Yeah, they're preventing ammo carrying over round to round. So if someone picks up heavy or stockpiles a bunch of special ammo, they will just get to keep that, and that's kind of shitty. Things like emotes being forced into first person mode, and you can't pull a sword out unless you've got ammo for it, so that just eliminates 3-peeking. So it basically is boiling Trials down to who is better at shooting a gun at another player, and that's what it should be. And also treating each round as a fresh start with the ammo not carrying over.
And now with the anti-cheat.
The anti-cheat, and they've come hard against like people who've done account recoveries and stuff like that, because that's kind of not the point. Like, you should be doing this. And so what they've done is said, like, okay, look, it was hard to get Trials rewards, so we're going to lower the bar. That's it. Now you've got more players coming in. They've changed up a bunch of like how the cards and stuff work, so that it's less punishing if you do lose a match. It kind of takes some of that pain out, and they're also moving more towards like skill-based matchmaking in a sense. I'm not sure how it's going to work when you've got like players in a fire team that have differing skills, like whose does it prioritize, but essentially it's like they're going to try and match you against someone who is, for that weekend, at a similar point for Trials,
skill set,
or based on historical data, who's close to you, and if they can't find a match, they'll just start widening that band until they get a match. So yeah, Trials has matchmaking now as well. So you can go in as a solo or as a duo. I think they're talking about doing like a freelance version later where it's only solo queue, similar to what IB has now. But it just means that like the incentives are still there. The rewards are still some dope fucking weapons and armor. But it's just a lot easier to get in and get at them. So I'm excited for trials, which is weird.
We've already got a bunch of hands up in our fire team, as our clan as well. Just like, hey, I might actually play trials this season.
Yeah, and half of that's probably going to be solo queuing, just to be like, I want to see what it's like now.
Yeah,
and
or clanning up on a first night of trials, a Thursday or a Friday, and just giving it a go and testing the waters.
Yeah, because I think it's not out until September 10, so we've still got a couple of weeks. They've also said stuff like trials will never happen on an IB weekend.
IB week.
And also the same week as a raid drop was kind of their thing. Is like, we don't want to pull focus or anything like that. So it seems like they're actually thinking about where trials fits within the rest of Destiny, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Because they want people to be able to try it. And that's been the thing, is like the entry quest to even get in is a pain in the ass to be able to play trials. And then you've got to go find 2 people to play with, right? And then you've got to get a build together, and it's such a fucking hassle.
I miss trials. And that's coming from when trials first came out. I played trials on console and I was a sweat. I got to the lighthouse.
I want to see that version. That version of Mackie.
I had a friend we used to Sherpa thirds through all the time, and I used to stream it, and I was like a trials bitch. Like, that was me. I was like sweaty, frustrated, like super into trials on console.
Yeah.
So ever since I started playing Destiny on PC, I was like, oh fuck yeah, trials is gonna, and it's not something I enjoy.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that, not to the point I become obsessed again, because I was a dangerous woman when I was a trial sweat lord. I was an angry little gremlin. It at least revitalizes the passion I had for that game mode, because I do miss it, and then I jump in it and I just do not have a great time.
Well, and
like I used to. I used to love trials.
Yeah, and like the cheaters have been there mostly. That's where they kind of congregate, and like that has been a problem. They're working on it. If you've played any video game online, cheaters are always a thing. You can put all the tools in place, but there's always going to be someone who figures out some way around that shit.
I used to play CS. Used to cheaters and people finding ways around anti-cheat. But like, for me, it was the lack of matchmaking.
Yeah.
For someone who hasn't played Trials in 2 years, coming back into it and being matched with a 3-stack who only play Trials, and then when Trials is out, they sweat lord, so they're up for 18 hours just playing Trials, sleep for 2 or 3 hours, are back up doing it, trying to get to the lighthouse. That's not fun.
No.
I want to build up to that.
Yeah, and
I want to start as a baby and then build up to, let's start getting our friends to the lighthouse. Yeah. That's what I want. That's what I love about Trials, is once again that community kind of feeling.
Up until now, the closest analog is go and play Elimination, which is essentially like Trials Light. But the gap between playing
Trials.
Well, yeah, but like the gap between just playing Elimination and Trials has been like this giant chasm. And now it's like, oh, you could just kind of like play a bunch of Control, and then maybe you could just dip into Trials and figure out if that's for you. And it's a lot more accessible to a wider group of players to just finally see what this thing is. Because it's up until now, it's like, you might be a solo player, you might never play with people together. Yeah. There's a version of Destiny for that, but Trials has never been a part of it.
That's another thing too, coming back to community. You might play Trials as a solo queue and meet your people.
Yeah, you might get teamed up with some random blueberries and it might just click. You might send them a friend request. All of a sudden, that's how a clan starts. Right? That's how a Discord server starts. That's how legitimately lifelong friends can be made if you watch that fucking 30th anniversary video package. Like, that can be it. Like, as much as it sounds like some corny thing out of like a romantic comedy of like, yeah, met the love of my life in a World of Warcraft server, like that shit has happened and continues to happen. You know, it could be there. So it's good to see them kind of like just trying to lower the bar to entry. Like, yeah, you've still got Flawless, you've still got the Lighthouse as like the bit on the top to chase, and all of that, but just being able to try it is so good.
It's gonna be so nice. I'm excited.
Yeah. But yeah, I think as much as that is a long episode for us, I think that's everything.
It's been a big week.
It has.
It's been a massive week.
Yeah.
Oh, Marasov's back. Yes.
Yes. Fuck, how could we forget? Marasov is back.
What did I say? Season of the loss. Season of Meki simping.
Yes. Yeah, we're now entering the simp zone. Please get your buckets and mops at the ready.
Marasov is here to remind me I am very queer.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I'm again, the last few seasons, I think we said this last time, like the last few seasons, the story development week on week within the season has been fucking top notch.
Witch Queen is just motivating me to get through this. I want to read the lore now.
Yeah.
I want to play the season information.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I want to read weapon lore tabs again. Like,
I want to talk to Ikora, give her a little kiss on her bald head. Mwah, I'm proud of you, honey. You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Just like rubbing her head.
Mwah. Proud of you.
In this world, Meki is actually tall.
Hey. True.
Yeah.
I want to get my stepladder and kiss Saint's little head.
Yeah.
It's okay, buddy. We'll find the real Osiris one
brush
day.
His little mohawk on the top of his helm.
You want to sit down and feed the pigeons and talk about it.
He does. He always does.
I miss Osiris too, don't worry.
Yeah. I miss the real Osiris. I miss when Osiris was a real one.
I want to go flip off the Savathun crystal.
Oh, so here's a weird thing I don't know if this is supposed to happen, but
so you go cocoon.
Well, no, like to get into Marasov's throne world, which is where that crystal is, you have to go through the helm, through a portal.
You have to go through the Ant-Man quantum realm.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, in the helm, you can't fire weapons unless you know the very specific weird trick with pulling out your ghost and whatever. When I was in Marasov's Marathrob. No. Marasov's throne world. When I was in there last night just playing around, and granted, I'd seen some other bugs earlier, I realized I could just fire weapons and cast abilities while I was in there. I know that because I hit Marasov with a thunder crash. Nothing happened. Bullets went right through her. But I was like, what the why am I allowed to do this? I guess it's because the thing is, like, it wouldn't actually be in the Dreaming City because there's no load time between going through that portal. You're just there in the throne world.
It's just an oversight, maybe, or a bug.
And then I just kind of stood there for a second. I was like, I'm going to shoot Savathun's fucking weird crystal body, and nothing happened. I stood on top of it. Nothing happened.
Oh my god. Chili, when we're done here, do you want to go show Savathun our Elixni babies?
Yes.
I think she needs to see them.
Yes, she needs to see them to think about all the things she's done and all the people she's killed.
Look at my baby.
No, I need to go and see if I can find more cursed emotes to throw at Savathun.
We have to go find Savathun's worm. I hate that sentence. When Mara and Savathun are like, yeah, she needs her worm. I'm like, no, she fucking doesn't.
You have to crack open the top of the crystal and drink all the tequila to get to it.
Put that sentence back in your mouth.
Drink all of Savathun's bath water. The worm is at the bottom of the bottle. We need to get out of here. This is bad territory. This has been Erico Blueberry episode 3. It's been something. Like, comment, subscribe, I guess, if you are as broken in the head as we are. I don't know how else to put it. We'll be back next week. Go play Season of the Lost. Go watch the showcase. Get excited. Big things are coming.
Dream about things in the comments with us.
Yeah, I hope our comment section is only screaming. That's okay.
All capitals.
This is my fake YouTube engagement bullshit right here to end the episode. Our comment section for this episode is capital letters only. I don't want to see a lowercase letter. No punctuation, no numbers, just big letters.
Tell us how you feel in all caps.
Big letters.
The most threatening comment section ever.
Big letters.
Don't send actual threats. We just want threatening energy.
Yes. Yes. Okay. We'll catch you next week. Goodbye. Oh,
yes.
man.
That's the energy I want.